1 Corinthians 3, verse 12. It says, and many will build on this foundation, speaking of Jesus. Some will use wood, hay, or straw. Other people will use gold, silver, or jewelry. On Judgment Day, all of our works will be on the altar, and they will be tested by fire. If the work survives, the builder will receive a reward. If it does not, he will suffer great loss. He will be saved, but just like a man barely escaping a wall of fire. As we build, we have to build so strategically. And the best way to do it is to do it exactly like Jesus did it. In Mark chapter 3, verse 20, it says, and the multitudes gathered around him again, so much so he didn't even have time to eat. Those multitudes had believers and seekers, people who were not Christians. Believers, seekers, and skeptics. They were all there. Jesus had this mentality of going for non-believers and going for believers at the same exact time. Let me ask you this. What in our service do we never forget to do? Tell the person next to you, go. Now anyone say offering? Raise your hand if you said offering. We never forget the offering. And what is the fruit of never forgetting that? At the end of the year, hundreds of thousands have come in. Millions have come in. Because we never forget to do that. Evangelism has to be a topic that we never ever forget. But here's the deal. I don't want to preach on evangelism every single Sunday. I want to preach on whatever I want that Sunday. I don't want to preach about evangelism every single Sunday. But I'm going to preach about the offering every Sunday. So I've decided to commit to myself that I'm going to talk about evangelism as much as I talk about the offering before the offering. And so for some of you, that would be very difficult because you have a 45-minute offering. That would be very hard. Our offerings are about less than 2 minutes 100% of the time. And God's been so good. In 10 years, we paid off our building. Thanks, Mom, for that clap. So I'm going to give at least 2 minutes every Sunday before the offering and talk about evangelism. And this is the practical way on how I do it. I say this. I thank you all for being here. The number one reason why we are still on this earth is to tell people about Jesus. If there was nobody else, I say the same thing every Sunday. They already know what I'm going to say. It's not creative. It's not new. It's the same thing every Sunday. I say if there was nobody else for us to reach, the Lord would take us to heaven. And so I want to say this because now I'm reinforcing our culture by saying it every Sunday. Our culture is to give offering every Sunday, to do worship every Sunday, to listen to a sermon every Sunday, to take an altar call every Sunday. But now I have to make it our culture to invite people. So it's got to be every single Sunday. And now, here's the deal. Many visitors come and you don't know they're visitors. You look out in the crowd and you don't know who's a visitor and who's not a visitor. Now, if you're just starting your church, you know. I'll get to that section in a minute. But in our case, I don't know who's a visitor. But I want to know because I need to get them into a home group right away. Right away. But if I don't know they're there, how am I going to get them in a home group? And visitors don't like to self-identify. They like to be invisible. They just want to be in the church, sit on the row, listen to the preacher, and go home. But no. Because it's a part of our culture to get you into a life group. It's a part of our culture to have evangelism. How do I make that bridge? So this is the bridge right here. Same thing every Sunday. People are worshiping. I am a friend of God. They're worshiping. I come up. I transition the service. And I turn around and shake the hands of 4 people around you. Tell them you're so glad you're here. And at that moment, because I'm going to forget to talk about evangelism. At that moment, while they're all shaking hands, one of our pastors will come up to me while they're shaking hands, just like this, and they will hand me this card. Hold on a second. Come up here. This is Pastor Tiago Santos. I love him. He's in our church. If you haven't talked to him, you need to talk to him. He's anointed. Thank you so much. You don't know him, but clap for him anyway. They hand me this card. What is this card? This is a Visa card. Now, here's the thing. I used to try to get their information by sending them in the lobby to get a mug. Oh, you want this mug? Yeah, I know you want this mug. Now fill out this card. You know you want this yellow mug. No, let's not do mugs. Let's do hats, shirts. What I've noticed, maybe you got awesome mugs and you're not in our boat. Maybe you got awesome hats with like clappers on it and people want your hat. Our visitors walk right past our mugs. And so, again, every single Sunday, I don't know who's a member. I don't know who's a visitor. I don't know how many visitors we've had. But I'm preaching evangelism every single time. So now I got to get their information somehow. Otherwise, they'll never get into a life group. So I've built the culture every single Sunday. Every single Sunday, I'm talking about evangelism. I'm going for healing every single Sunday also. There's certain things you do every single Sunday. If you don't do it every single Sunday, it's not your culture. Say, ooh, that's good. All right. So I got to give them something to where they'll give me their information. And so I say this. If you're a guest here, I'm so glad you're here. You did not know any of us when you woke up this morning. You didn't even know if you were going to like us. But you came anyway. And for that, we want to buy you lunch today. On the way out in the lobby, there's going to be a table that says, lunch on us. Go over there and say, hi, I'm new. They're going to give you a $15 Visa card to go buy lunch. And just know that we love you and we thank you. Guess how many people go get that Visa card? Every single one go get that $15 Visa card. They go get that $15 Visa card, but we got to have their information. Now they'll give us the information. They give us the information and we get on the horn. We're so glad you came. There happens to be a life group like right around the corner from your house. They would love to have you.